Defining trauma by the freeze response. Well, we first need to start with, what is the freeze response? We have three main ways our body responds when it's under threat. We've got fight, flight, or freeze. Fight, you're gonna punch something, usually associated with anger. Flight, fear, run away. And then freeze. Freeze is unique. With fight or flight, both of the ways that our body interacts is called, we go to sympathetic dominance. It means our body is highly stimulated to do something. So punch something, run away, highly stimulated. What makes freeze unique is it has that highly stimulated sympathetic response, but it also has a parasympathetic response. And it's the same way of pressing on the gas and the brake at the same time. Both those things lurch the whole system. And there's several reasons for this. One of them is that our body goes into freeze response when it can't do the first two, when there's no place for fight or flight to happen, and it has to go to the next best option. It has to go to the next option, which is freeze. And we see this in nature with playing dead or hiding. It is this in-between state. It's this reserve state that we can't do fight or flight right now, so we need to put everything on pause and hold. We still need that high level of awareness and vigilance of a survival state, but we can't express or do something in that moment, which means it needs to be put on reserve. The other main reason for the freeze response is that it actually keeps us alive. Many creatures, especially birds, when they get too stimulated, when they get too, riled up, they can actually die from all of that overstimulation. So the freeze response is one of the mechanisms in our body to keep us from overstimulating ourselves to death. And it does this by kind of having that parasympathetic response in that. So it's calming the nervous system down just enough. It's holding the sympathetic from not going too crazy high. So it's actually keeping us from overloading ourselves and overclocking ourselves. And that gives another survival reason for the freeze response. And what happens and what turns things into trauma is that the freeze response is never allowed to turn into the fight or flight and resolve. So it becomes this looped experience that never resolves. It is a trauma response. It is this freeze response that never ends, that never stops running. And that's what makes it critical for us to be able to go through the physiological process to get out of that freeze state into an expressive state. So that's one way that we can start to help with and move through and address trauma, is just literally having physical movement. Physical movement is just one way that we can start to work through this process. And by shifting our nervous system and moving ourselves down intentionally into a parasympathetic state, it actually helps us process and move through trauma. Because this physiological response of both gas and brake, we want to do things that are going to start to move it out of that gas and brake state in order for the body to complete its cycle. Because so many living creatures go through really intense experiences of life and death, of almost getting eaten. I mean, I was watching this one nature show where a penguin got taken by a sea lion, and it played dead in its mouth, and the sea lion just relaxed just enough in its jaw that the penguin got away. And that penguin was able to go all along with the rest of its life because it wasn't freaking out all the time. And that's the true for like creatures, including humans, have ways to address these really intense experiences, to be able to take that experience and not be chained to it or have it so it's destroying their lives, but being able to express it, move it, and also learn from that experience. And that's what we're looking to do when we address trauma, is we want to be able to have it move through the regular physiological process so that experience is no longer intensely burning in the nervous system. And also for us to learn from those experiences. That way, trauma is not held in the body, it's not held in that loop. And there's reasons that trauma gets held in humans and we get held in that loop. Because there's certain aspects of modern society and modern mainly that we don't really move as much as our ancestors did or other creatures do. We are put in many situations where we can't fight or we can't run away. And because we're put in so many situations where we're not allowed those two first expressions, it's just naturally that we'll get put into that third. And then not only are we put into that third freeze response, there's not many opportunities to get out of it. It's like, oh, I can't run away or fight with my parents, or I can't run away or fight with in a work situation. And then people just sit in that for hours, and then the body can get just stuck in that freeze state, in a chronic low-level freeze state that, flares up. And that's what we're really talking about when we're talking about trauma. It's this inability for people to get out of that freeze state, for the body to shift and complete its stress cycle. Because when we start to do things to shift it, that's where we're going to start seeing changes in effectiveness when it comes to addressing our trauma.